Glad to be talking about nice Friday morning temperatures too.
Yes, we definitely are. We have had some cold days, of course. The last couple of days we're on the warm-up path, and we really like that, especially as we go into a weekend, Matt.
We got a little tease yesterday.
Yeah.
But we're going to do way better than that.
Oh, okay.
And all the snow that we had yesterday morning, that's all gone. It's way out the window. 60s are coming back in. You could open the windows today. We're excited to do that at the house later this afternoon. 64 will be the high today, but don't be surprised if we get even a little bit warmer than that. Nice southwest wind will be coming over central Indiana. Right now we're mainly clear, and there's a light south wind out there. It will get a bit breezy today, but that south wind's just going to help us to warm up. Plus, you have all the sunshine headed your way. It's a little bit cool out there this morning, some low 30s, even a few upper 20s out west from Tippecanoe County south to parts of Putnam and Montgomery counties this morning. 35 in Carmel and Fishers. It's 34 in Zionsville, 35 in Greenwood. It's 33, a lot of 33s in eastern Indiana, 34 in Greensburg. Good morning in Bloomington, one of our cooler spots right there at 32. Remember, we had all that snow yesterday in that narrow band. It's gone now. We can get that out of our memory, and we're headed to the 60s later today. Great weather if you are headed downtown, just to walk around and enjoy as the NFL Scouting Combine is underway. Tight ends and defensive backs today. Drills start at 3 o'clock. You can't beat this weather. Lots of 60s out there. Nice school day, too. Teachers who have recess duty today, not a bad one to have with the warmer weather. Coming up, we'll talk about some fronts that could bring some snow chances later this weekend. But Lindsay, no snow this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. And we're looking at the extension of this project here on the near south side. So there's going to be some temporary closures this weekend. Want to get you updated if you do have travel plans. Now, these are mainly going to be during the overnight hours, starting tonight at 9, running through 6 a.m. Saturday, potentially again Saturday night into Sunday morning. There's going to be some temporary lane restrictions in both directions of I-65 between the South Split and I-465 this weekend as they work to lay some new pavement down, as well as some road markings along that stretch. Also keep in mind, we've got a lot of local city streets that are impacted by the widening of these 65 bridges from Prospect Street down to Palmer Street. We got Shelby Street that is blocked. There are lane restrictions on both of the Pleasant Run parkways, as well as this closure of Naomi Street under I-65. Starting to see that slowdown coming into the South Split in this construction zone. Not a major backup, but we'll keep you posted on that I-65 corridor.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, this morning, IPS is leaning into new uniformed administrative approach on student safety.
Oh, the school board approved a policy that focuses on safety and privacy. Anna Chalker is live this morning sharing more on what this policy is, what it lays out for students and families. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. This policy, school board leaders say this is all about clarity, and it will be following all of the state laws, and it does stay within legal boundaries. So in this policy, student records are confidential, and the district will only release information when required by law. It also designates the superintendent to develop and carry out those guidelines. The policy reinforces equal access to public education for all students living in the district, regardless of race, religion, disability, or immigration status. And this all comes after a lawsuit filed by Attorney General Todd Rokita, who claims IPS refused to turn a student over to ICE in January. And now the district says the policy strengthens their core mission of education in supporting their students.
This policy replaces uncertainty with uniform standards that can be applied consistently across the district. A public school fulfills its educational mission through clear, lawful governance.
We have reached out to the Attorney General's office for comment on the policy, but have not heard back yet. And we have been hearing back from families and some community advocates about this, and they say they are in support of what the school is trying to do now. So coming up, we'll share some of those thoughts and why they say this is really going to push the district forward when it comes to keeping students safe and focusing on the mission of education here.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Well, IPS did pass that new student access and privacy policy the same night that state lawmakers sent a bill on immigration enforcement to the governor's desk. The bill prevents government entities, including public colleges and universities, from limiting immigration enforcement. Now, K through 12 schools aren't specifically named in that bill, but districts like IPS could fall under that definition.
The bill also gives the Indiana Attorney General's office power to sue agencies that don't comply and defend those that do. Now, we do have a full breakdown of this bill for you now, awaiting the governor's signature. You can actually stream our coverage on WTHR Plus by scanning the QR code on your screen. Well, today marks the last day of the Indiana legislative session, and there are a few bills still on the docket.
So it's crunch time. One of those bills focuses on who can drive semi-trucks on the highway. Marina Silva is in studio breaking down what we know about the bill and these changes now trying to make it through. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Well, really, this affects the test that drivers take to get their commercial driver's license. So if you're trying to get a CDL, the test would only be offered in English. This is House Bill 1200, and it's seen a few changes. Supporters argue that this added requirement would make sure drivers can read road signs, fill out logbooks, and communicate with police. Now, earlier this week, the governor and the attorney general highlighted several Hoosiers recently died due to crashes with semi-trucks driven by people who were not in the United States legally in a last-minute push to get this bill passed. State Representative Pressel agrees.
I don't think Indiana has the problem. I think the rest of the country has a problem. And this sends a message to all of those motor carriers that if you're going to put bad drivers in your trucks, expect to pay a penalty.
Also, under the bill's new language, Indiana's BMV can revoke a CDL if someone is here unlawfully or within 15 days of a driver's work visa expiring. As for penalties, if you're driving without a CDL, it would be a level 6 felony and a $5,000 fine. Now, the trucking employer and the school who issued the license would also face a fine of up to $50,000. The Attorney General, Indiana State Police, and the BMV all support the changes to the bill. And as for what's next, lawmakers now need to prepare a report that needs to be approved by both chambers before heading to Governor Braun's desk.
Because this is a bill that was already in the works, but there's been multiple changes to this.
Yes, throughout the General.
Right. Thank you, Marina. Well, Governor Braun has signed a bill that paves the way for the Chicago Bears to build a new stadium here in Northwest Indiana. Ahead at 6:45 this morning, we'll have some reaction to the bill's signing from lawmakers in Indiana and in Illinois who want it to stay there.
Well, a 16-year-old expected in court today, charged as an adult accused of shooting at IMPD officers. Investigators say Jamar Neal shot at police from inside a car that officers were trying to pull over, connected to a deadly shooting investigation. Neal was taken into custody along with 2 other teens in the car and the 21-year-old driver. Well, it's the latest incident of violence against police officers.
Obviously a growing concern for law enforcement, especially after a Beech Grove officer's death last week. The Beech Grove police chief paused his eulogy for Officer Brian Elliott Monday, calling for the reform of the criminal justice system. FOP President Rick Snyder echoed some of those frustrations, blaming what he called a court system revolving door.
He's advocating several legislative efforts, including a constitutional amendment that would allow judges to deny bail for certain defendants. He points to a recent change increasing bail in Marion County.
This is making a tremendous difference on those lower level felony offenses, which can help prevent those higher level felony crimes.
Well, that amendment is on the ballot in November. Snyder went on to say he is optimistic about the city's homicide rate, saying that it is on trend to continue going down. A Plainfield man convicted of repeat drunk driving was just sentenced to 4 years in prison. 28-year-old Timothy Hughes, you see here in this mugshot, already served prison time when he was 17 for a deadly drunk driving crash then. But last June, he was arrested in Henry County for OWI. And just weeks before that, he was arrested in Hamilton County for drunk driving. His trial for the Hamilton County arrest is set for April.
Well, this morning, we know IMPD is looking for 3 people they say ran from the scene of a crash involving a stolen car. Police tell us they believe the car was actually involved in shots fired incident earlier yesterday morning. It all unfolded around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Police do tell us a detective tried to make a traffic stop near 38th and Post Road when the driver sped off. Shortly after, they found the vehicle crashed into a tree here. This is into the 38th and Shadeland Avenue area.
Time right now 6:10. Have you heard the good news? It's Friday, and we have sunshine and 60s on the way. Nice quiet start this morning, nothing on the radar. Maybe you want to head to the Indianapolis Zoo. We're going to be more outside. The animals may be more active too with the warm up. We'll let you know though about some snow chances this weekend.
Bill Clinton takes his turn in the hot seat today in the congressional investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. What his wife told members yesterday when she was questioned.
And a father on trial after his son opened fire at a Georgia high school. Why prosecutors say he contributed to the actions his son took.